And we're live. Welcome back. This is Omiinka's production studio. I am Omiinka7, Omiinka7 tribe. And I'm coming back to you because I did say that I would continue to do oracle divination readings on behalf of our situation and what we should do in putting our rituals in place. And this is the beginning of putting our rituals in place by doing oracle readings. And I've done an oracle reading for Bill's situation, and I'm going to continue to do an oracle reading on Sundays for us as a nation. And I've just recently pulled out my book, and I'm resorting to the oracles, consulting the oracles in the ancient Egyptian state. And as you know, I like to pull from many different modalities of doing ancient readings, and we have so many in different countries. I like to sometimes switch up with the oracle readings, and we're doing the ancient Egyptians now. And what it says about the ancient Egyptian: all powerful in a civilization with a divine incarnation in dozens of gods and goddess, natural forces and temporal powers were all interconnected and arranged according to a universal order. The priests of ancient Egypt were masters of the art of magic and divination. The priests were masters of the art of divination and magic. As I talked to you before about the magic, I told you that African Americans who were ancient Egyptians had the art of divination and magic. And let's look into this art of divination. The ancient Egyptians were masters of the art of magic and divination. Some people in our race think we are playing when we say magic and the art of divination. But they're gifted people who only read oracles, who read the aura of a person, around the person, and they are reading frequencies and energies. Has nothing to do with the fact that they are being an avatar. It could mean that they have the frequency and energy to read the auras around you. Now let's look into it. And we started with number 12. And I don't have my glasses today, so you have to bear with me. We started with number 12. That was the solution. It says, put your finger on the number square at the random, then count 9 spaces to the direction of your choice. And finally, write down the number of the symbol found that repeats the operation a second time. Let me do this a second time and see what we get. That we got, or the answer we got was 12, and the second one was 9. And in this number 12, it is the Lotus Sutra. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Lotus Sutra, but this is the answer that I've gotten for the race of Black people. And the Lotus Sutra is the image of the birth of the sun emerging between its petals. And it says, first strengths, let's look at the strength. The lotus, the sacred flower of Egypt, is an invitation to meditation and spiritual development. Your strength lies in the peaceful way in which you allow situations to unfold. That's our strength. Number 2, our weaknesses. Like your mind, your body is experiencing restlessness, anxiety, and nervousness. You are withdrawing into yourself and preventing your deep inner self from expressing itself. Guard against intrusion vision. Okay? The third one, solutions. What do we do about the problem? It is only by relaxing your inner tensions and living a healthy lifestyle that you will achieve your aim. Learn not to worry. Learn to feel safe and to be reassured that in the end of everything will be all right. Now, that's just a general reading, but we want to find one that's more specific to our needs. Give me some time here where I look up a different one. I know I chose Mo before. We don't want to choose Mo again unless we have to. Okay. Yeah. And consulting the oracles. Let's go with the Tar. All right? And we want to know what is going on with the black race and what we should do. Should we get out? Should we leave? How should we address these allegations and go into court? What should we do? And the Tar says, no one knows by whom, where, or when the tar was created. In Europe, it was first discovered in the mid-15th centuries in Italy, when Belmo painted the figure used on the cards on the occasion of marriage between the Basquiat families. In the 18th century, it discovered that the mystery contained symbols, images, messages that still must be interpreted. These are the first one, and it says, what does it say here? It says, choose 3 numbers between 11 and 21 and write them down. Put your finger on one of the 22 cards at random and count the first number you chose, counterclockwise or counterclock, as to which round the circle card. This gives you your first card. Now, I'm choosing a number between 11 and 21. I'm going to choose 13. And it says, put your finger on one of the 22 number card, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Choose 3 numbers. Put your finger on one of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. And it says put your finger on one of the 22 cards at the random and count the first number you chose. Okay. And that is, let's see what it says on the first number. Okay, the first number came out for some reason as death. Everything dies. The first number, it says, fear not. This card speaks not of death, not of physical death, but of transformation. So it's not a death card, it's transformation. Symbols. Everything dies and everything is reborn. The end of one thing is the beginning of another. As the first card, your situation is difficult because you have reached a turning point, a change, perhaps even an uninhabitable has taken place, or you have experienced a separation. Remember, defeat can be provable, a necessary change that will be followed by renewal. So there's some change getting ready to take place. Okay. Okay, now let me pull my second card. And my second card, it says choose three numbers between. Okay, I'm gonna choose 20. And write them down. Put your finger on one. Uh, put your finger on one of the 22 cards at random and count counterclockwise. Okay, I'm gonna count 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And 20 is 22. 22. A whole lot is going on here in these oracle readings, and it sounds, and we are going to have to ask the oracles to speak to us and give us a vision for all times. And because this is a part of Oracle Divination Network, we want to be true to form. We want to also look at what the elders have to say about the situation. And in consulting the deities and asking them, what do we have to do? Is this a time to get out? Is this a time that we should count up all the costs and look at how we're being destroyed and how we won't have a legacy left here, as to whether or not we should take a look at making a move? Farrakhan once talked about that we must separate from these people. If we're going to continue to live with them, then they will rub off on us, and we're going to have to make a decision to move away or to stay and build an institution where we're protected. But it looks like the readings are telling us that there is some trouble and that there needs to be some shift and change. As you know, we had a few signs that was a fool. One was death. Death was the beginning of new things, not necessarily someone dying. And the fool could carry you anywhere, okay? And what other card do we have besides the fool? We had death, and we had the fool, and then we also had, what was that one, the last one? We also had the moon, and we know that the moon is always shifting, and you will never have to you will have to face your fears. We got to face our fears. What is our greatest fear? We have to shake it off, and shake it off the past, shake off whatever past we have been suffering from, and get back to the basics. But we have to understand that we can no longer continue to let our lives be misguided and not do anything. We have to do something. And these are the oracles. And I like to do colors for you now, because it's always fun to do colors, because colors gives us a pretty good indication of what's going on. Okay. Okay, here's colors. Okay. I'm going to choose a number between 1 and 20, a random number, and I'm going to select the color on the color wheel. the opposite, and from there count the number you have chosen. I'm going to choose 20. Well, I chose 19. Let's see. Choose a number like color, like the color on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so my answer is brown. And what does brown have to say? Brown says, this color represents earth and everything that is fixed and tangible. Rather than enthusiasm or passion, it speaks of wisdom and shyness. It has a peaceful side but slightly on the defensive. The omen. This color refers to a thoughtful person who tries to build a solid foundation for love. Your feeling will evolve slowly but surely and will develop into a lasting relationship. Attitude to adopt. Only sincere words and profound feelings will have a chance of thrilling your partner. Be tender and sincere, then the situation will gradually improve. Now, let's try another one here. Let's see. Start with this one, and we're going to count 15 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that is pink. What's that pink? Let's see. Okay, let's try another. 1, 2, 3, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Orange. Okay, orange. It says here, deeper than yellow, but less violet than red. This color symbolizes balance and harmony in emotional relationship. Orange promises growth and enjoyment of life and enthusiasm. You will experience strong, generous feelings. It is not just a flirt or a simple encounter, but meeting that will lead to a long-term relationship. Attitude to adopt. Commit yourself, become involved, take a responsibility, agree to things, and make a choice. And the omen was orange promises growth and enjoyment of life. Now, I want to say that we as Black people need to always be able to look into the oracles, look into the Cosmic records to get directions and solutions for our life. And we need to rely on oracles very heavily, and that's why we created the Oracle Divination Network for those women who are clairvoyant, who are seers, and who are priests and priestesses, to join our divination network and bring forth your oracle readings. Some of you are energy readers and you don't have to have a medium. We definitely welcome you to be a part of our divination network. It's been around now for over 9 years. It used to be called Care to Read, and we switched it to Oracle Divination Network because we were coming in contact with a lot of paranormal. What is paranormal and why is it necessary? The paranormal gives us a glimpse into the future of the spirit realm. Hello? Okay, you're listening. I got people here listening. Hello. Thank you so much. I don't even know how to operate this, how to get you talking. Come back on the screen so I can see your comments. Yes, yes. Clairvoyant reader and seer, I discovered I was first able to understand clairvoyant things at the age of about 14 years old. And I had my first encounter with being an avatar when I was invited to take a job in the hospital. Even though I was a school teacher, I was summoned to take a job in the hospital without any skills whatsoever. And I was told that I was going to be trained and that I was a healer. I couldn't believe it because I was saying, I haven't healed anybody. How do you know I'm a healer? But I was brought in to the hospital in Elgin, Illinois. And while working at Elgin, Illinois, I discovered that I had an affinity for working with the sick people. And I had been praying and asking God to allow me to work with the very, very sick people and to use me. And I had no idea that he would come and get me out of the classroom and make a way for me to come into the hospital to work with the very, very sick people. So this was made available for me. And because I had this opportunity to go into the hospital to work in the emergency room, I thought that I was ready for it, but I found that I had to build up a callus to work in the emergency room, and it was very detrimental for me to see sick people coming in dying. And I was told that I had to either build a callus up for it or get with the program or change professions. So I later got moved to the pediatric department out of emergency room. What a joy. And nevertheless, when I came into working with the infants and working with the infants in the pediatric area, I found that, that was a lot less traumatizing for me. And I was working with babies, and then they put me in geriatric. And when I went to geriatric, I was told that I had to walk the floor with the chaplain, and that the chaplain heard me praying for people and thought that I had an ability to soothe these people, and asked me to put down all my treatments and to come and walk with him as he did his rounds on the floor with the cancer patients. And I then found myself working with cancer patients and carrying my Bible with me on a regular basis, praying for these people. And they somehow began to get better and get well, and they got discharged, and I was then proclaimed as a healer, healing all these people, and they were leaving donations in my name, which I couldn't take, and I was told that the monies had to be donated to our cardiology department, which I then had them donated to cardiology, and we built our cardiac lab at that point. And at that point, I was being called a healer. And little did I knew that I was an energy and frequency healer. I had no knowledge of this healing, but my brother, who was a naturopathic doctor, also said that I was a healer, and I had the ability for God to work through as an avatar, and truly I was just a vessel that the Spirit was working through. So why am I here today? I am here on behalf of Oracle Divination Network. We have an organization on Blog Talk radio station. We've been meeting there for over 9 years. I am a host for the paranormal. I interview paranormal clients. They come in and I interview them. At that particular point, it was so many people that wanted oracle readings that we had proposed not to do oracle readings on that show. But there then came a time when it was necessary for me to take out my E Kings and my divining chains and to be a part of the Oracle divination again. I do not charge a fee for my readings because I am not in it for the money. I'm a retired school teacher, and some people make this a hoax where they get in this profession for the benefit of the money. And if I see a situation that's devastating, that really needs to have a reading that I may get involved in, then I certainly do. I've been doing readings for those cases that may be a phenomenon. Like I've been following Bill Cosby, doing readings on his situation, and now doing readings on the African American community, because I knew that Bill Cosby was just an example of what could be done to a race of people. So I then started doing the readings on behalf of our race to see what it is that we have, to look forward to. So those of you who are out there again in the audience, will you put your comments up on the screen again so I can see who you are? Okay. I'm not sure if I'm clairvoyant. I'm going to read some of these and then try to comply to you. So please leave your statements up there so I can read them, if you don't mind, and then I can respond to you. I do have a station that I work with on Streakers, about 3,000 followers, where I deal with health and wellness, and we address a lot of health and wellness. So put your statements back up on the screen, and I'm going to try to respond to some of them. If you don't mind, because I can't see you in private, but I have to see you on the screen. Okay, it says, I'm not sure if I'm clairvoyant or not, but a lot of movie scenes that I watch on YouTube seem to happen. Uh-oh, what happened? You're fading away again. Okay, you're not so sure if you're clairvoyant. Well, let me go from there. Number one, we all have the ability to see into the lives of those that we're the closest to. And you're going to take a vested interest to look into the lives of the ones that are in your family, your loved ones, and you're going to instantly become clairvoyant because you're going to read into their lives, and you are summoning answers, and you want questions resolved because you have a vested interest in your loved ones or those that are your significant other. So you can read them. You can easily read them and possibly give their next sentence and speak into their lives and hear what they're not saying. You actually know what it is they're trying to tell you. Subliminally, they're telling you something, but they may not be formalizing it into English. They may be telling you the half of the story, and you can finish the end. We have that ability, and that's when I was told that we all are readers and seers into the lives of those we're the closest with. Now, other outside people that you know nothing about, you're going to have to practice, and you have to prepare yourself to read into their lives because you don't know enough about a situation to give a completely surround answer. But if it's someone you spend time with, you have other tattletale signs that will help you to make a decision about their situation. Now, can you put those other statements up there on the screen again? I'm going to try to see if I can read some of these others, if you don't mind. So yes, you're clairvoyant, whether you see a movie or not. You have the capability of reading into your loved ones and significant others' life. You say, I'm being named. Wait a minute. Okay. Come on, come back up on the screen again. Now, I don't know how to keep you and lock you guys in because I'm brand new to this, so just bear with me. This is a brand new channel for me. It used to be an old channel, and I can't handle it the same way because I'll cut something off. So put your comments back up on the screen again, and maybe I can address you. But yes, we have the ability to read energies in a number of things. You can read energies. You can determine which frequencies are different. Now, subconsciously manifesting, okay, I don't know what you meant by that. Can I get a love reading with you? Let's see, with you. Let's see what else we got here. Can you put those statements back up there again? You keep fading away. You're like a spirit. And first of all, let me explain something. Anything you need to know about yourself, you can read cards. You can read the energy and the frequency of cards. And some people are readers where they don't need a medium and they just read your aura. And you should train yourself to read the frequency of people's body movements and when they're telling you something to be able to determine if they're lying, if they're giving you the full truth. Most of us have been here before, and this is not our first visit here on this plane. And we have deja vu, and we know things that we that has been put in our Cosmic record. And we also have the ability to be clairvoyant in the area of being able to clairaudio, being able to hear things that we are not in the room to hear that may be stated in other countries. We have that ability to hear conversations. We also have the ability to be clear vision, where we can see things that are about to happen. And some of you might be dreamers like I was. I was able to have a dream, and things would come to me in a dream, and things can come to you in a dream that you want to know. Now, I deal in the Kemetic metaphysics, where you can take these emblems to bed with you, or you can meditate on these emblems, and these emblems appear in your meditation. And whatever you are trying to find out, or whatever you're trying to strengthen or remember in the spirit, you have to first do it in a meditation and in the spirit realm. And when you have meditated on this, when you come out of this trance, you will come out of the trance either mastering that thing in the natural, or having to go back in and to meditate some more. And I used to do my work in graduate school this way. I used to study by being in a trance. And you have to go into a trance and come out of the subconscious mind, because we do too much on the subconscious mind. When we do all the stuff on the subconscious mind, it gets confusing and the mind can't retain it. It cannot hold on to it. So you have to go into a subliminal state where you're half awake and half asleep. And that's where you go in the deeper parts of the water in the subconscious mind, and you can work things out on the subconscious mind. And the longer you stay in that trance and half awake and half asleep, the better you are able to work that thing out in the spirit. So when you wake up and come out of the trance, you pretty much have worked it out, and whatever you were trying to master or do, you find yourself now being able to master it because you've worked it out in the spirit realm. And we can go to bat and go to war for ourselves in the subconscious mind. And that's why I tell a lot of people that I close my eyes and I remove myself from a situation where you go into a trance. And it's very important to know how to go into a trance, to take yourself out of a situation where you put yourself in a safe place and away from the situation and circumstance. And while you're in that trance, you're protected, because on the outside, you're not there anymore. And whatever you are going through that was traumatizing will not affect you. So a lot of us learn this when we are in battles or in situations, such as African Americans have been taught this through their ancient grandmothers, that you don't have to be there, don't say anything, that silence is silver, and you literally go into a trance to remove yourself from a situation so you don't say the wrong thing or so you don't impose upon someone. And then after that trauma is over, you bring yourself back. And that is something called magic that the African American race have done a lot of in order to protect themselves. And this is a tactic that the slaves used to use to remove themselves from the beating so that they could endure, so that they wouldn't die during the trauma. So what I'm saying is that is a technique and a skill, throwing yourself in a trance. A lot of times you see in the churches where black people are slayed on the floor. They're overwhelmed, so they've thrown themselves into a trance, and they literally have to be left alone until they come out of it. So trance are very, very beneficial, and they're very important. And when you're trying to see things and you're trying to elaborate on a problem, you can throw yourself into a trance, and while you're in that trance, you search for the answer, for a solution. And that can definitely be found. Put your statements and comments on the screen again so I can see them. I'm going to try to address some of them. If you can keep them up there long enough so I can read them. So if you're out there, go ahead and put your statements on the screen again. I like to read them. And I'm glad that you're joining me today. Thank you so much. Somebody asked about love life. You know the answer to your problem. I only guide you to find your own solution to your problem. Don't ever let anyone put you in a trance. You throw your own self in a trance, and there's no such thing as I'm going to put you in a trance, or I'm going to use psychology on you by doing a guided trance. You guide yourself into a trance, and there's no such thing as people saying that they use these tactics to control you while you're under a subliminal trance. Don't ever sit down and let someone put you in a trance. You put yourself in a guided meditation, because that's safer. And it's very vital that you should understand that you know the answers to your problems. You already know the answer. And a good counselor only leads you to answer and solve your own problem. I never tell people I have a solution to their problem or I can answer. I always tell them I guide them in the direction of answering their own question. I am out on King.com. I've been out there now for 20 years, and I used to take phone calls for the military soldiers who needed someone to speak to them, and I made myself available to them to speak to them in various different cases. However, right now, that King was an international account. Now, can you come up on the screen again so I see your statements again? It seems like there was some foreign language up there that I couldn't read. Maybe you can interpret what you're saying. Can you put your statements back up on the screen again so I can see them? I'm with Oracle Divination Network. We've been around for about 9 years. We deal with the paranormal. I'm a host on the Blog Talk Show under Oracle Divination Network. And I've been on a little sabbatical because I've been doing a lot with Facebook and with YouTube. And also now with Streakers. I have a Streaker account. You can go out and look me up under Streaker. You'll find all 9 years of the paranormal, just about any kind of paranormal interview you can think of. I've interviewed priest. I've also interviewed clairvoyant people who are dreamers. I've interviewed Linda, what's her last name? Linda is a metaphysicist. And these people, for some reason, were drawn to me, so I had to create the account for paranormal and to create a place where they could come and give their testimonies and talk about their life history of being clairvoyant. And in my life history, I would say that the biggest thing was that I was in a hospital healing people for over 4 years. And that was real and visible because families made donations to me, large sums of money that went towards building our cardiac lab. And that is documented over in Aurora Hospital in Aurora, Illinois, as well as Copley Hospital. So that was documented. And from then I knew that I was used as an avatar and that God worked through me to heal others. Now, I don't know if I still have that capacity or not. I know that my sister had cancer and my brother and I worked with her feverishly. She was in the 3rd stage of cancer, and she's now cured at 84 years old of cancer, and that was several years ago. These have to be people that want to get well. I talk a lot about spontaneous healings because they're very important. A lot of people can be instantly healed through spontaneous modalities. So I'm studying on that a bit because you can all have spontaneous healings and there be no real recollection as to diagnosis and procedures done by doctors. You just miraculously get healed. But as far as being a fortune teller, reading your fortune, you can read your own fortune. Your cards, you can read the ripples and the waves. You can prepare and use your gifts. You cannot lay them dormant. I think to read our comments, you have to tap your phone and scroll. Tap my phone? What phone? Let's see. Now you said to read. Okay, you said, I think to read our comments, you have to tap your phone and scroll up and down your finger. Okay, I'm scrolling. I think okay. I've been journeying like crazy. I like a motto 2 number like 333444, things that I repeatedly come across that can be coincident. Now, what do you mean coincidence? Let's talk about this coincidental. There is synchronicity, but I don't know what you mean coincidental. I think to get a lot of what's going on happened by listening to music as well as lyrics. Yeah, that's true. I can get a love reading. Okay, nice. So everyone has the gift in a way, intuition. That's right. Everyone has intuition. Can I get a love reading? Okay. Subconsciously manifesting. Okay. Okay. Yes, we all have intuitions. You are so right. And because we all have institution, and there is something called synchronicity that synchronize and things fall into place where you might be on a journey and you have to get things ready to go on this journey. All of a sudden things will start falling into place for you. Let me tell you how I know that's true, because I went on a journey to Europe and synchronicity starts to fall into place. People start giving me readings about this journey I was going on and what I was supposed to be doing and how it was necessary for me to go. So synchronicity sets into place, but it all starts in your own mind. You think that it's happening supernaturally, but because your mind has ordered it. The mind is very smart. The mind knows how to order things, and you have to rely on the mind like it's a heart. And sometimes they said that this is a mind thing. This man doesn't love her. In his mind, he's fixed his mind to believe he loves her. So the mind can play tricks on you, and we have to be very keen on the mind, because mind over matter. You must remember that this is matter, and the mind and the heart is nothing but an organ, and we cannot let it have the ability to supersede itself over the mind. We must be able to take the mind to a place where we will allow it only to guide us, but you have to tap into it. So when people are talking about, well, can you give me a reading? You already know the solution to your question, because you've asked the question and you're doubting yourself, and really you know what to do, but you need somebody to substantiate what it is you're getting ready to do. And all I usually do is lead people to their own solution, so they won't ever come back and say, but you told me, you guided me, you instructed me. No, I'm telling you to do what your heart tells you to do, and listen to your heart. Your heart will never lie to you. Your heart will guide you. And your heart is really your head. Don't get confused by being in love with somebody because you love them, and that's called infatuation. You want the mind to decipher what are the pros and the cons, and the mind usually divides those up. Well, we have these 10 things here that are lined up, that are positive, that are con. We have these 5 things here that are negative. Let the mind lead you. And you've been given a mind too. God has actually placed himself within you. When God places himself within you, you can tap into the Godhead that lives within inside of you, and you cooperatively work together on one accord. So you're not making decisions on your own. God is dwelling within you, and he's making decisions with you. So you and God are bosom buddies, and you're posses, and you're riding together. So that's why if you have any congratulations to give or consideration, give them to your head, because your head has gotten you there. It is your head that has manifested you to get in that place of serenity that you're in. Has nothing to do with the body, because the body will follow wherever the mind takes it. But you got to keep your mind strong. And if you don't keep your mind strong, it'll be given over to a reprobate mind, meaning that every whiff that comes this way, the mind will be led to go there, and you'll have a weak mind, and you won't be stable, and you'll have a double mind. And a double-minded man or woman is unstable in all their ways. So you first aim to build a strong mind. And building that strong mind, your constitutes will not be shaken. If you're in a courtroom, if you're in a defense case, you won't be shaken, because your mind will be stable. And when you get your mind stable, then you don't have to worry about being wayward. Then when you constitute a thought, your first mind is always God that's speaking. Don't be fooled by other outside forces. Every solution will be found internally. So when your mind starts talking to you internally, giving you direction, that's God speaking. Go with your first mind. And do not be led by outside forces. Because, see, everyone is biting for the mind these days. Your mind is sought after. And be careful. Guard your mind and guard your heart, because out of it comes the issues of life. And everyone is biting for your mind now. They want to persuade you. They want to guide you. They want to constantly direct you. And you have to always understand that what is going on. And when you know you must be firing darts back, you cannot be in a war and have your back up against the wall and say, I'm not going to do. Vengeance is the Lord's, and you must call on your ancestors and call on the great people that went before you to come and assist and aid you. There are more with you than against you. And you must understand that when you take that mindset, it's a communal thing. You're not in a weapons that are carnal. You're not using carnal weapons anymore. You're using spiritual warfare. And when you're in a spiritual war, you need your ancestors and you need those who love you to stand with you, because they're very forceful and they are very, very hard-working entity, because you're the sum total of why they came. They didn't complete their assignment, but you must complete it. They didn't complete their assignment, but you must complete it. They have a vested interest in you, so they come back to assist you and to aid you. In order to understand the supernatural, you must connect with your ancestors. And I can't tell you who they are, but on a daily basis, you must call out your deceased loved one's name and be reminded of who they are, and invite them back to the common circle to reconnect with you, to fight wars and to fight challenges with you. Because without them, you're nothing. Do you realize when you go into the legislature and a court of law in Washington, D.C., you see all of the buffs of the ancestors throughout the White House, and they pay homage to those people. They don't forget their ancestors, and they don't take those buffs down, because they rely on them for strength. You're not in this world alone. You must understand we are energy and matter, and by us being energy and matter, we're frequency. While we don't have you coming on, and we've got this battery all plugged up back here, let's see here. I am Gemini, so I'm thinking, let's see what it says. I'm thinking comes easy. Laugh out loud. I don't tend to overthink sometimes, okay? Spiritual guide, I definitely know they're with me now, and they're always been with me here. Just wasn't awake about them. Absolutely true. The mind is truly powerful. I've been more positive lately. I don't want to send out negative vibes. If I want something in my mind, I already have it. That's right. Use your own mind. Message retraction. I think to read or comment on, you have to tap your phone. Okay, I got that. Okay. All right. I've been journaling like crazy, like a motto, two numbers like 333, 444, etc., etc. Things that I repeatedly come across that can be coincidental. Okay. I think I get into a lot on what's going to happen by listening to music as well as lyrics to the future. I want to warn you against the music. It's crazy out here these days, and you don't want to base anything on somebody's lyrics. That's their experience. Have your own experience, and don't let everybody be having itchy ears putting a word of knowledge in your ear. You should find that through your meditation. When you meditate, you must come up with some solutions to your problem and answers. That's when the Creator speaks to you, when you're quiet in your own space. And don't let anyone invade that space by saying they have a word of knowledge to give you, by giving you their lyrics, because that's their utopia, but it's not yours. And you have to remember, you're an individual that God is having an experience through. God could not do one thing. He could not come down here and pose as a level of a man. He had to know experience through each of his creation. And he wants to know experience through us. And as he knows experience through us, he can experience the world. But because he gave us dominion and told us to subdue it, he will not come down here because he has given us that ability. But we are seeing through God is seeing through our eyes. And that's why we all are God's, because he comes to take up residency in all of us and to reside in us. And then we give God the best life that we have to give. But remember, he does not dwell in an unclean temple. And he will not dwell in an unclean temple because we have to keep the temple clean, else he cannot reside there. Let's see what we're saying here. Okay. Now, let me relate to the zodiac signs. I want to say something to that Gemini. There are 13 zodiac signs and not 12, which I found out. And we all have a crossover of each other's characteristics, and we all are similar to each other, and there's no such thing as not being compatible with one neighboring sign, because we all have the ability to get along with people in general. So therefore, we are going to have some neighboring signs that are alike because we're so close together, and we're going to have distant signs that we don't, opposites compel. So we have to understand, in a true situation, we have to learn to get along with all human beings, just as we do when we try to get along with all different races. We're on the defense all the time, thinking that somebody's out to get us. When we fall in that psychotic state of mind, then we become fearful of everything. So we become reactive to everything. And that's what we're seeing going on in this racist world. People judging before the fact because they're afraid of everything and they think everybody's out to get them. But that's not the case. We've got to understand that in the zodiac sign, we could just about get along with everyone there if we make an attempt to try. So there's no such thing as the Geminis are only for the Aries and the Aries are only for the Leos. You can cross those barriers of all zodiac signs and you can date across the zodiac signs, and everyone can learn to get along with human beings. Now, if you're not acting human and you're not a Putin human being, nobody wants to be bothered with you anyway, black or white, Jewish or Islamic, or it doesn't matter what your zodiac sign is, because if you're acting stupid, you're acting stupid. But once again, I think that we got to learn how to find solutions to our own problems. Sometimes we go into the doctor's office and we act as if the doctor is God, and we don't listen to our own vital signs, and we don't listen to our own body talk to tell us when something is wrong, and we wait too long to hear from that first voice that's within us, and we go to the doctor for everything. And sometimes the doctor misdiagnoses us, and sometimes they send us on home without the right treatment. But we have to understand in this world that God didn't create a church for us, and He didn't say, go in that building and you'll find me. And He did not give us a book and say, here's a manual to be guided by. And we wonder, how would we know how to live and what would we know how to do? It's all been wired within us. Each one of us has been wired to find solutions to our own problem. Each one of us have been wired to know how to love ourselves and others. Each one of us has been wired to know what's best for our lives and how to govern ourselves accordingly. And no one is running out here that is lacking a mind and who, even though you came up in the bush industry and you're an indigenous person, you still have been given the details and instruction for what to do. So I want to say to those people that join me today, I don't know if I can get you back. I want to say to those people that join me today, thank you so much for coming in and asking for a reading. I want you to do a job on yourself and go home and start reading yourself. Sit quietly with yourself and begin to meditate and ask God to reveal yourself to you. All of us know very little about ourselves. And on a daily basis, we're getting to know ourselves better every day. And the more you sit quietly with yourself, the more you get to know yourself better. But you cannot do that when you're in this rush world, not listening to the tattletale signs of your body and not taking the time for the Creator to speak to you. Now let the Creator speak to you, and know that you are all readers and seers. You have the capability because it's the ancient gods that decided to give you those gifts, and God is dwelling with you and among you.